the most
There you
the most
go.
interesting thing, the most interesting thing I heard about this movie, and I didn't think about it until I read it this week, is that this has got a lot of the same sort of zaniness and off the wall nature of it to another Coen Brothers movie, and that's Raising Arizona. And I never really sort of put that together like that, but probably of all their movies, and I don't know that I've seen them all, but I think I've seen a fair number of them. That sounds like it's a pretty fair comparison, just because of the weird, quirky nature of the story. So, and Raising Arizona is also another sort of favorite of mine, just because it is so off the wall. The one thing I never really quite understood from this, not this is a big thing, but why is there a cowboy narrator?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So somebody
Sam
can say
Elliott was
sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
I watched kind of a interview they did 4 years ago with not Bo Bridges. What's her guy's name?
Jeff Bridges, Steve Buscemi, and
John Goodman. They're sitting next to you.
And they talked a little bit about that, but I don't quite remember the details of it. But they talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, they had such a good time. They had such a great cast in that thing, Jesus and
John Turturro is great.
Turturro. Oh, I loved him in this. That character Jesus was unbelievably funny, and that tight bowling jumpsuit, whatever it was. Oh my God! Yeah, that was really good.
I love this shot where he's got all the rings on, and then he's got the cocaine fingernail.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
It's just that good as ball.
Well, like a lot of cult classics, this one has lots of theories about what things mean. And that, to me, that's the fun of watching it over and over again, is trying to figure out, is Donnie real? And it's whose PTSD are we dealing with?
Yeah.
It's either just a dumb movie, or it's layers and layers of meaning, and you just have to be hip enough to figure it out. I'm not sure where I land.
I remember talking about that last time, about, is Donnie real? We spent a lot of time on
it with any other characters.
Bill, did it say anything in the interview about that?
Yeah, most of the things that people have speculated on was just like a source of amusement to those guys, because they, I don't think, it didn't come up that, oh, Donnie, Donnie, absolutely, he was, he was not alive. In fact, I was kind of watching for it when I rewatched it. There was a scene early in the movie where he's talking to somebody else, and I was going, well, that's not exactly what we took away the first time with it, So I think that a lot of it was all just, many parts of this film were just speculation, where they left it open for our interpretation. And Donnie,
it's kind of like the Walrus is Paul.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mahoney's comparison when he was talking about Raising Arizona, these are both kidnap movies. So,
yeah. So was Fargo. So was Fargo. Kidnapping.
Got that in common.
And Fargo was the movie just before this, for the Coen brothers, and Buscemi was in that.
You're right. And the other guy, that white-haired guy that was one of the bad guys, I don't know his name.
Yeah, he was the bad guy in Fargo.
You're right. Yeah, he was the wood chipper, the guy that was.
Yeah, he puts Buscemi in the wood chipper.
Yeah, exactly.
Flea?
I had said I had never seen it before because I had this thing about, you know, Jeff Bridges, and I just hated that idea of him. When I saw the coming attractions when he's in the bathrobe and shorts, and I said, no, and I never watched it. So I'm really glad because I did see it and I loved it. I was laughing out loud. I loved John Goodman. You know, Goodman, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated actors. I think he is phenomenal in every single thing he does. And I remember the first time I saw him in some movie, he played a country singer or something. And I honestly thought that he wasn't an actor, that he was really a country singer and they were just filming him because he was so good. And to me, he was just so good in this. He was just the crazy. I never got that Buscemi was a dream or not real. What I got with him was that he was like a sycophant. He wanted to be with the cool guys, which at least I thought, according to him, was Goodman and the dude. And he just wanted to be a part of that. So he just kind of, you know, sat there and went along with everything. But then, of course, as soon as he said anything, Goodman would say, "Well, shut the F up." You know, that was his retort to every time Buscemi said anything. So
You're out of your element. You're out of your element. You're out of
Yeah.
your element.
Yeah, you're out of your element. That's right. That's right. I mean, there were so many things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's what he said. Shut up, Donnie.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up. And then the other big line that I loved was, I mean, I just thought it was so hysterical when they say that rug that pulled the room together. I just died. I mean, what man, the guy that's walking around in the bathrobe and shorts and said that, you know, the whole thing that really bothered him is that he wanted his rug. It was just, everything about it was so funny and so good. So I'm really glad that I got to watch it because I never would have on my own. So.
There's so many layers here with the debt collectors. I mean, where the hell did that come from? And then the three Eastern Europeans.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
And it turns out they didn't have a kidnapping, so they didn't really know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole cluster of stuff around Juliana Moore was just out there. That scene where she comes flying across the room,
Jackson
naked,
Pollock
throwing paint on the
right.
God. And that guy
Everything.
that was sitting, this guy sitting with her in her living room, just giggling his ass off over who knows what. I thought that was maybe what's the guy's name that did trying to remember the movie. He's famous for kind of semi-pornographic stuff in Hollywood. Oh man.
Roger Vadim?
No, I'll think of it.
Okay.
That's a good guess, though. I like that.
Yeah, it was very good. You get points for that. Yeah.
Jane Fonda could have been in it.
That's right. That's right.
I like the mystery of where the toe came from when we finally got.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was so. I mean, so off
They
the
show
wall.
they show the wife of the other LEBOWSKI starting her car, and they show both of her feet, and all of her toes are there. You know.
Yeah.
So then it's like, whoa, where did they get the toe? And then, of course, Walter's like, I can get you a toe with finger polish by 3 o'clock. You know,
I can have it in half an hour. I can get it like that.
not a problem.
And then the kidnapper's girlfriend's missing a toe.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. Oh my God.
Well, if
If
Donnie's not
it would
real.
have happened to me, I'm not sure I would have ever gone to breakfast with that crowd ever again.
No. Or bowl. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if Donnie was not real, then whose cremation dust goes into the dude's face?
My Zoom meeting movie thing.
Now say again.
Whose cremation dust ended up in the dude's face if Johnny's not real.
There you go. That's a good.
Oh, I was trying to think. John Waters. That's who I was.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Huh.
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean,
this is
I think the first time I ever saw this movie was well into it. And I think the first scene I remember is the scene that's up behind Sanders there of them trying to throw his ashes into the Pacific, and the wind blows it back in the dude's face. I went, all right, okay, I'm in for this. Okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah,
a
that,
little
oh
early to
my.
talk about it, but John Waters is in a new movie with Little Richard.
I read about that.
I'm gonna
Oh,
make that
really?
as a
Oh,
recommendation.
that should be hysterical.
It's a documentary about Little Richard, and Waters is kind of behind the whole thing.
Really? Oh,
Talking
that'll
about-
be wonderful.
Talking about how his queerness is what affected rock and roll. Not just his
That's-
music. His music was incredible too, but that's part of what he contributed was it was okay to be queer and be.
does John Waters have something to do with Big Lebowski?
No, just
Jeff was talking about it as an illusion.
the character that was giggling in Juliana Moore's living room reminded me of John Waters for some reason.
Hmm.
He very well could have been that character, I'm sure.
I looked. I don't think he was.
Well, no, I'm saying he could have.
Oh, he
been.
could have done that. Yeah, yeah,
could-
he
he-
easily
he
could
was-
have done that.
He could do a lot of things.
Right, there he is, running back.
He's coming back, I
I
guess.
think he and Manson went for a beer. Oh, no, there he is.
Oh, that's what that's what it was.
So I read that the Big Lebowski is not the dude.
No, the big Lebowski was
The other
the
one.
old guy.
Yeah.
He's the little Lebowski. Yeah.
He's not even Lebowski. He's the dude.
Right.
Yeah, he is the dude. That's right.
Or
He's not.
Deuterino or
Deuterino.
his dudeness, whatever you want to pick.
Yeah.
What did he say when he stuck his head back, just before he stuck his head back in the toilet?
I'm not sure. Give me another look.
Let me back in.
Where's that money?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it may be down there or something like that.
Yeah.
So they were talking about this was done in that first of all they said like there are more F-bombs in this movie than any other movie ever made. And
Really?
and
It's all
so
Walter. It's all Walter.
yeah. And then it was during that era where they did conversions. So because when it went for TV, they converted all those out. So they had, all the scenes like when they were talking, especially like the scene where they were smashing the car in with the tire iron and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to Switzerland, things that did not happen. In reality, he was saying, I'm fucking this fucking thing up. Yeah. So, I mean, it must have been, they said it was like hilarious what they had to do to convert this movie to
I
a movie
bet.
that could be viewed over television.
Bad lip syncing.
Yeah. Yeah. The same thing happened in The Exorcist when they made it for TV. I won't say what they said, what you already know, but there was a scene when she's talking to the younger priest, and she says, well, you know what she says, but when it went on TV, your mother smells socks. She smells socks or something like that.
I remember hearing that.
God.
No. How can you say that?
I was just, oh yeah, your mother smells socks in hell. That's what they changed it to. That was pretty fun. But anyway, I digress. Sorry.
Thank you for that, Donald. Thank you for that. I want to make sure that makes the newsletter. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Who's going to write the newsletter? That's a good one.
Oh, dear.
Which I want to bring up a point where I observing from a distance on nights that I can't participate. I think the writing of the newsletter has become unnecessarily burdensome. It seems like a heavy lift after a lighthearted discussion to then expect people to, do volumes and paragraphs and, I'm not sure how we got into this tonnage of afterthought, but
we didn't have YouTube for all that long, so it's kind of doing that job for us.
Yeah,
No,
it
no,
is.
this is the legacy of Walsh's skill at writing.
Oh, absolutely.
Goes up.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
He had joie de vivre when he was writing. I mean, it was fun for him, I think, and he did
Yeah.
such a beautiful job.
yeah.
But usually he would have something related to the movie that would go on for a paragraph. And then he would
Right.
say, and the discussion was very lively. Now, moving on. And then he would just wouldn't even tell you what the discussion was.
I think he said a lot in a little,
Yeah.
and we've started to say a little in a lot.
No, mine
Yeah.
though, I think
True that.
Gary brings up a good point. Mine was basically cut and paste from stuff that I was looking at to present the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
but Bill, you're retired. Oh,
Which
I don't
Wait.
find I had a lot of information. Mine
Damn it.
was all cut and paste, and I probably took me 5 minutes to do the notes I did.
yeah, but you left us with an hour and a half worth of reading assignment. That
It was, but it was research, because it was like a critic's review of that. You don't have to read it if you don't want to, but it wasn't.
we're the critics. We are the authority. We don't need other critics.
That's right. We
and
know
we're unpaid,
best.
damn it. We're unpaid.
Right. We're not getting paid by the
That's
word.
right.
Bill, it did bring it did spark an idea or a question. You are now like 6 months from your bike wreck.
Mhm. No, yeah, November
How-
4th.
Yeah. So what condition is your condition in?
I just stopped in.
Yeah, I just dropped in to tell you that. I don't know. I mean, I'm still hurting somewhat from it, but I'm recovering pretty well, I guess.
I'm reading a book called Outlived, which is all about, how to maintain longevity, not only live longer, but live better. And it comes up over and over again that a fall is the beginning of the end. And I saw you fall, and I wanted to make sure you were able to recover from it. It's not the beginning of some end. Jeff can probably confirm that falls for people our age is, can be the beginning of a downward spiral.
Yes, absolutely. Hip fractures are notorious for short lifespan afterwards. Although they've gotten a lot better with the orthopedic treatment. And I don't know if that statistic still holds up, but it's been historically true that you fall down. And I think that's one of the reasons that physical therapists and trainers and so forth put so much concentration on core strength, because it's that core strength and balance training that keeps you out of those troubles. It also helps you keep good bone mass, so that if you do fall, you have at least some bone to fix. If you let the bones get too thin, then you're kind of screwed, because there's nothing to put back together.
Literally.
The guy who played Dame Edna, the Dame Edna character, died
Yes.
yesterday, 89 years old, from complications from hip surgery
Yeah.
after a fall.
Mhm.
One of the things that I read was, can you get up off the floor by using just one hand.
Hmm.
And if you can't, then you need to work on your core strength to be able to do that, because that's kind of an indication that if you were to fall, you could brace yourself, you could cushion yourself, things that I, hadn't thought about, but just some basic lift, squats and things that make it possible for you to get up out of a chair without having to push yourself out of a chair.
That's what those life alert buttons are for.
Yeah.
Should have a little
Yeah,
spring-loaded
that's
thing in
right.
those. Pop
But
it
you
up.
have to have the strength to push the life
Press
alert
the button. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There is some kind of a statistic too about being able to get up without using your hands at all. And
Yeah.
if you can do that, your lifespan is such and such a length. If you can't, then it's substantially shorter,
Yeah.
projected lifespan.
Well, sorry to use you as a case study, Bill, but I was curious about, how your recovery was going and if you were out of the woods or anything still hurt.
I need one hand to get down on the ground.
Getting up and down okay, and I'm doing walks, and I think my therapist thinks walks are about the best thing a person
Yeah.
can do. But I think I would have rather broke my hip than my neck.
Well, yeah.
So I think they're kind of two different things, but I dodged the bullet on the neck thing, and
You sure did.
looks like,
Yeah.
except for having some nerve pain that's going to be around. I've had several people several times say it's going to take at least a year, and I think
Wow.
really in some of their minds they wonder if some of the nerve pain will ever go away. But I'm recovering pretty well. They got this right shoulder was damaged the worst, and so they're kind of strengthening it so that my arms are in symmetry. They said I can't really start doing things until I have kind of symmetric strength, which I think is kind of interesting. But that's the biggest thing I'm overcoming right now, and then just a little weakness in my lower legs too. But really, I'm doing pretty good.
Gary,
I
that's
think
a-
all those would have been a good excuse to go really light on the newsletter, but no, you went heavy.
along.
I'm telling you, it's all cut and paste.
Gary, I was going to say it's a curiosity. Like you asked Bill how he was, I just called him this afternoon because I don't get a chance on these things usually to ask him, catch up with what's going on. And we had this conversation earlier this afternoon.
Okay.
It's
Hey,
good
maybe-
to hear.
We can have this week's pick and the hospital report.
There you go.
It is a bitch getting older. There's no getting around it.
We'll
You know,
have
I
to get
won't.
Jeff's family's hospital report next week, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
how
we've
about if
got-
we have Chat GPT do our reports?
I tried
There you
that. Doesn't work.
Doesn't work?
Well, maybe my wording wasn't correct, but I did say, because I was going to do a Chat GPT and go, okay, but it really, and it was based on based on the YouTube, this video.
Oh,
It was based on that. But they really got it really wrong because I guess too many people talking and they just kind of put things together that didn't belong together. So,
We do that.
but I did
anyway,
try
right?
it just to see what
Yeah.
it would do.
Well,
Yeah,
from
if it
now
were
on,
real-
everybody has to raise our hands, all right?
Yeah.
And be called on.
or
Well, no,
identify
it wasn't
yourself by
that.
name.
It was that they didn't get the context right. So one person would say something and another person would say something and they'd put them together, but they were, it was just the context was all off. I don't know how else to explain it. So it didn't quite work that way.
So Mahoney, Witt, Sanders, how does Chat GPT affect your previous livelihoods?
It didn't affect mine at all.
Right.
Although I
But
did.
I mean, on a go forward basis.
Well, it didn't affect mine. I actually used a dictation service called Otter to record some lengthy meetings and sometimes some quick turnaround interviews so I could pull bites. So I never actually used that application and like that. It was a simple dictation app called Otter.
But I mean, over the next 15 years at J School, where's this go?
Well, I think it easily takes facts that you input into it and organizes them, in a logical way. And then if you're the Mahoney or the Sanders or the Whitakers of the world, then you go in and tweak and highlight because it's very bland. I've used it. It's very bland, and there's virtually no flavor or personality or insight to it.
But that's today. That's today.
Well,
that's not 3 years from now.
Well, I still think I think which point's going to be here that personality and personal perspective is going to be remain with the author. It's good because it's going to be a reasonably neutral recitation of facts.
I wrote a song and put several verses and sent it to Chat GPT and said, I'm struggling with the chorus. And they came back and said, this verse is different than the rest of the verses. That's your chorus. And they were right. And it was liberating. It was almost like having somebody, almost like a producer, look over my shoulder and say, that's your hook. That's your melody, or that's your hook line. And so I thought it was helpful. But so in that case, it gave me, which was several verses of lyrics, it gave me a chance to point, and they pointed out something that said, that's the thing that you should repeat as a chorus. So I don't know if that answers your question about what it will be in the future. That's just what it did for me.
I don't know.
I think it's going to be wonderful. I just
think it seems to be cheating integrity or what. I'm not sure.
You got to remember, it's nothing that we haven't put into it. So it's just feeding it back to us and maybe reminding us, there's a better way to say what you already said. I don't know.
That's how I felt about it too. I felt like it can be inspirational. You can take this thing that has taken some thoughts and put them together in a different way than you might have thought about it, and it was inspirational to change focus. I think it's great. I just think we have to be careful that it's not used for cheating and all that stuff. It needs to be used for what it is, an artificial intelligence that's helping us to take our human intelligence and make it better,
Well, in my case, if I was getting songwriting credit, did I write the song, or did ChatGPT get a co-writing credit?
OpenAI gets the credit.
Where do I send the royalties?
Where do you get your royalties? Yeah, who gets the royalties? Yeah.
You write for Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make people lazy in a lot of ways, and people who are not prone to write stuff themselves in the first place and use their creativity. I think if they have to write something, they're just going to deploy that and go on about their business and not really exercise that part of their brain. I worry about the kids coming up. And
my exact thought was, what about the college sophomore who's down to the last 4 hours before something's due, and it inputs stuff from various sources and asks it to bring something together about a subject?
It'll be a 21st century version of plagiarism.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what I see.
But the creativity as always, is going to be how do you use it to be creative?
Right, right.
You know,
Use the
you
instruments
could-
you've got.
you could fake your way through it, but somebody's got to figure out how do we optimize chat GPT to create something new.
Yeah.
Those are the
Yeah.
people that are going to be noticed and make the money or make their name or be credited as, you know, different and creative.
Hmm.
You know, the Screenwriters Guild is about ready to go on strike. Will we see a chat GPT screenplay, television script?
This is not a good time to go on strike.
Yeah, yeah.
While all these people are walking the picket lines.
Yeah, anyway.
I don't
Sorry to
know,
get
it had
off of
such-
Lebowski.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, we.
Well, just so you know, when it's my turn to write the newsletter, it's going to all be chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
Okay.
I think there's a program that will do the notes from our Zoom meetings.
Yeah, oh sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you could just do that, Gary, just turn that on.
But you cannot chat GPT your way to Bob Walsh. There's
no,
a gap.
no,
There's a gap.
yeah.
Wide
That's
gap.
the difference.
And
They,
people
the
will
human,
figure it out.
yeah.
Well, maybe I should go back into my emails and get out all the Bob Walsh reviews and make sure they get saved somewhere.
Yeah, send it to chat
Yeah.
GPT so they know that the
Oh,
voice.
hey, Bill,
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's do that for this movie. Since Jeff is not here and he had to miss, what do you say? Let's have Bob do
Oh, that's a good idea.
do the next newsletter, and we'll add a couple of things to it, you know, for the recommendations.
Oh, you mean if you can find his old minutes from this one?
Yeah, right, exactly.
So
Bill-
did
Bill's got it.
Bob do all the minutes for all the movies?
Yeah.
Yes, that's why we're lazy.
Ah, okay. So it
I've
wasn't like
archived
this.
Everything that
see.
I could remember to archive, I can look for them too.
And Donna, he would do like a script from a radio drama, and it would be you know, some detective novel, some noir thing, and it would get to a point in the script where they would then turn to the detective, and the detective would say, "Ah, it must be time for the League of Unpaid Film Critics," and you know,
Yeah.
and then he would go from there. So it was all just a setup to talk about what we talked about. And then he would, you know, take some highlights and then say, here's what the movie recommendations are for next week. It was masterful. It was, I
Oh,
don't know.
gosh.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd
It's
love to
perfect.
see it. Yeah.
Well, I have it right here. You want me to read it?
No, let's just put it
Why
out.
don't you send it?
Publish it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just send it.
Send it to everybody.
Just send it
Run
to all of
through
us.
Chat GPT before you do, and we'll compare the differences.
When was
Yeah,
it?
that's a good, yeah, because that's the difference. Chat GPT is cold, for a lack
I
of a
was, I
better
was
term.
kidding, actually, Donovan.
But it actually would be a good idea. You could see the difference
Yeah.
in how,
Bill, what
how
was the
things-
date on it?
December 27th, 2021.
Oh, there you go.
I'm watching the clock. I want to make sure I get to my Tucker Carlson show tonight.
Yeah.
And get up in the morning for Don
he's
Lemon?
gone.
Yeah,
Yay.
don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
He
That's-
hasn't found a job yet, though, right?
I've got a question. I've got a question for, since Mahoney is a baseball person. I know the dude was wearing his baseball shirt that had Taru Bito on it. Do you know who that is?
No, I was trying to make it out as well, and I couldn't.
I just did a quick search, and he played with the Osaka Tigers in Japan
Okay.
in the Nippon League. He was born in 1920, died in 1929, and those symbols
What? Born in 20 and died in 29?
died in 99,
Oh, okay.
1999.
Okay.
Bridges wore a similar shirt in The Fisher King, Cold Feet, and then in The Big Lebowski. It was something
Oh my gosh.
that Jeff would do, but loosely translated, the characters say strongly influential.
Wow.
Well,
One little
Thank you for
gem.
that.
yeah, he
One
has
little
been.
gem.
Yeah.
What drove me nuts, because as soon as I saw that, I go, I bet Mahoney knows what this is. I don't know. And then I thought, I bet Jeff does. Arthur doesn't have a clue what this is, but he.
Yeah. The youngster.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's time for this, but I watched two movies that on airplanes. One, and I don't know if Matson or Sanders will remember. I've told Joan that the Ozark Music Festival, the two acts that I remember that, yes, the Eagles were there and, all those headliners are there, but the two acts that I remember that blew me away were Aerosmith and David Bromberg. Do you guys remember David Bromberg?
He's still
I know
active.
him. I certainly don't remember it from that night, but
I don't remember from that night, but I was a fan of his for a long time.
He's great.
There's a documentary, and I wish I could, it's only like 73 minutes long. He dropped out of the music business altogether for more than 20 years and was living in Marin County, California, and discovered a violin shop and became a violin maker aficionado. Anyway, there's a documentary, and I can probably pull it up. It is his musicality and his sense of community. He did in Wilmington, Delaware, what people here did for the Gilloy's Theater. He went to a section of town, this old theater, and revived it. And anyway, so if you guys have a chance to watch it's only 73 minutes, David Bromberg documentary. I remember his performance in Sedalia like it was yesterday. He did a song called Sharon. It's about a hoochie coochie girl in a carnival, and you can't pay. You have to pay with your heart. And the hook on the line in the song is, the same crowd that was here last night is back again. Anyway,
Unsung Treasure.
yes, it's worth.
It's free on Vudu, Pluto, Crackle, Plex.
I don't know why it popped. Now, on the other extreme, I watched Babylon. I don't know if anybody's taken a deep dive into that. That's like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
I've watched it, but I don't know about deep dive. But
well, I mean, I just mean it takes a while. It's not like a 73-minute quickie.
Yeah.
It's a long one, and it's a movie about movies. The only thing that rings false to me is that it goes from silent movie to sound movies, and Brad Pitt somehow fails as a motion picture actor with sound. But anyway, if you want to watch a movie about movies, it's obscene, and it's gaudy, and it's got great music, and I thought it was. Of course, I'm stuck on an airplane for 6 hours, so 3.5 hour movie was no big deal.
Yeah.
A bonus. Don't have to run
Everybody
around.
saw my email I sent out about Cocaine Bear is now available to stream.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
Have you watched it?
Yes, I did.
Is
And,
it any good?
As far as horror comedy goes, I think Terry would have a tough time with this, because the bear mauls and kills people. And ha ha ha! How funny can that really be? But the people in it, we had fun. Terry was gone last week, so I sat in for Terry a couple of times. Matson did.
When seen through the Terry lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry, I don't know that he would like this, but it's based on a true story, and it's got
Sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
something that supposedly did happen. And, you know, it's the cast that makes it, you know, it's a bunch of bumbling people that pull it off. It's Ray Liotta's last film, if we have any interest in that.
Does he play the bear?
No, he plays one of the bad guys that, you know, is trying to get their cocaine back that the bear's eaten.
Has anybody here wrestled the bear? Anybody? Anybody raise your hand if you've wrestled the bear? Raise your hand.
I have.
Wrestled a bear.
Oh,
Sanders did. We've heard this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've heard it. Donna
Who
probably
won?
hasn't heard it, but it's a good story.
who won?
Oh, the bear one. I made it. The goal was to make it for 3 minutes in the ring with the bear, and I made it for a minute and
Why?
30
Why?
seconds.
Why would anyone do that?
He was
Get a
on
day off.
TV.
To get a day off at work. That's how I did it.
Well, I'm glad
Oh,
you're
I-
still here to tell us about it.
I worked at this little TV station in Jackson, Mississippi, and I went to my news director and said, Memorial Day is coming up. What do you guys do with holidays? Because I hadn't had a day off the whole time I'd been there. And he said, oh, well, you can take the day off if you turn in something else too in advance. And I said, okay. So I did a feature story on wrestling a bear, and I stayed in the ring for a minute, 29 seconds. I didn't quite make it to minute 30. That was it.
Hey, I want to share something with you guys real quick. When we were in Alabama last few weeks ago, when we were down there, Georgia and Alabama, we went to the Selma to Montgomery place to learn more, feel bad, Edmund Pettus Bridge, and I thought it was really curious, and I hope you guys would enjoy it, but they had a couple plaques there about people who played and sang the night before the marchers arrived in Montgomery on the fourth day of their march, and then were marching to the Capitol the fifth day in 1965. And just to see some of the people who were there to kind of cheer on the marchers, I thought it would surprise some of you. Sammy Davis Jr., James Baldwin, Peter, Paul and Mary, Mahalia Jackson, Julius Russell, Nipsey Russell, Shelley Winters, Pernell Roberts, Billy Eckstein, Frankie Lane. And of course, Harry Belafonte was a big one there. Nina Simone, Tony Bennett, Dick Gregory, Alan King, Pete Seeger, Johnny Mathis, Leonard Bernstein.
Alan King,
Yeah.
Wow.
the comedian.
The comedian.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Lena Horne, Gary Merrill, William Marshall. But I was looking at that and I go, oh my God.
That's
Wow.
a music
Idea.
festival
I don't
right
think
there.
most people have an idea about it.
Harry
Yeah.
Belafonte was a huge,
Huge. Yeah.
huge source of money for the NAACP and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference all through the 60s. Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really somber, and it reminded me, and my wife learned a lot, but taking that trip from Atlanta and seeing the King Center, and then then we went down to Plains, Georgia, and waved at Jimmy. He's in hospice down there.
Yeah.
And went through his little high school museum. But then that whole Selma to Montgomery thing, just the way they've got a couple of their visitor centers set up, it's really touching.
Wow.
I bet.
Who has the pick for this week?
I don't know.
Questions? I think
Who?
it
I
would
don't
be
know.
Donna.
We don't know. We don't even know who picked this week.
Yeah. No.
I could take a turn.
Oh, there you go. That's
That's
true.
right. It'd be Jeff's turn.
It'd be Jeff.
Bob did it, Jeff did it, and so forth. The alphabet's a little jumbled up right now. I kind of got into the mode of science fiction, and so I think I want to watch Minority Report.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
We haven't done that one before, have we?
No,
No.
not that I know of.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
I
The
saw
alternative-
Tom by
Tom
chance?
Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The alternatives were her, which is a Spike Jonze movie, or Stalker, which is also listed high among the science fiction movies. So I could be swayed if somebody would rather watch one of those. But
Her is a Spike Jones movie
yeah, I think so.
with
Wow.
Really? That doesn't,
Joaquin
isn't
Phoenix?
that the one about, the
Yes.
one that played the Joker? Isn't that the lead?
Yeah.
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 And
Wow.
her is his cell phone or,
Scarlett Johansson, she's the voice.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Go with Minority Report. I'd like
Yeah.
to see
With
that.
that.
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I never heard of Stalker, I don't think.
Yeah, I
went
haven't
on
either.
Tomatoes to look for they had a list of 150 best sci-fi movies, and these were all in there.
Okay.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other
Uh-uh.
recommendations? I've got a couple more.
I got
I
one.
watched
Go ahead.
Ghosted from Apple, which was kind of an interesting sort of spy movie. It's fresh out.
What's it
off the
called?
press.
Roasted?
Ghosted.
Oh, Ghosted. Okay, yeah.
It was good.
It was pretty good. It had some interesting action in it and some kind of funny stuff. I don't know. I liked it adequately.
What you got, Sanders?
I wanted to mention Little Richard. Little Richard, I Am Everything. It's in theaters right now, but it's also available to rent, starting at like $5.99 and $6.99 on a lot of places. So look. And then
I read a review on that this past week. They gave it pretty high marks.
yeah.
Oh, good.
And then In the Electric Mist is another one I'd like to recommend. It's a Tommy Lee Jones movie, and it's based on a murder mystery in New Orleans. And he meets with Confederate ghosts a lot.
What's it called again?
In the Electric Mist.
In the Electric Mist.
Yeah.
I watched something that I thought was pretty good. It was called The Diplomat. And you know what I got out of it, it's about the United States state service and diplomatic service, and how complicated global affairs are. And even though this is, fictional, blah, 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 I thought it was interesting because it was so interesting how they all connected and trying to figure out what other countries are doing and who's doing it. It was just, I just thought it was interesting. So I like that. And I also saw one called, and this is just kind of I guess it's like a documentary. It's called The Movies That Made Us. So it's about movies, probably like Babylon. It was about movies, but actual movies that have kind of affected us during the years. That was kind of fun too, because you'll know all the movies and how they affected us.
If you watch Babylon, I would recommend that you pay attention to the Flea, the bass player.
FLEA.
FLEA. The bass player from the Red Hot Chili Peppers has a role, and he's a hell of an actor. He does a great job. Yeah.
He
You know
was,
what?
he was in this movie.
I think I just read something a little bit ago that the Flea was in the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, he was. You got a credit.
Yeah.
Really?
He was one of the
Yeah.
kidnappers.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What was it?
He was
Is it
one of the
Kidnapper?
kidnappers.
He was one of the kidnappers.
That didn't kidnap anybody.
He's got screen cred. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, you had one more?
I do have one more. I'm going to throw out there Tropic Thunder, which is
Oh, yeah.
the reason I'm putting it out there is because I watch Bill Maher on Friday nights,
Uh-huh.
and he did this thing on woke, and he was giving away awards to people who overcame woke, and he gave one to Ben Stiller for putting this movie together, because Tropic Thunder, I guess, what's Iron Man's name? Robert Downey. He does blackface, I mean, I've seen this movie and I saw it with my son when he was like in his 20s or something, and I didn't think it was too awful funny, but I think maybe looking back on it this way, it might be more interesting, you know.
It's a masterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got quite a cast.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, Robert Downey, Jack Black, Tom Cruise, Matthew McConaughey, Nick Nolte,
Yeah,
Wow.
it's got a great.
Bill
I
Hader,
should have saved it for my pick.
Tobey Maguire.
They are calling me for my 8 o'clock reservation.
Okay.
Nice. Well, it's good
When'd
to
you
see
get home?
Ready. It's
When'd you
good to
get
see
home?
everybody. It's good to see
Good to see you,
everybody.
Gary.
Say hi to Joan.
I will.
Next Monday for the Minority Report.
Give me a yell.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all.